what nobody's talking about right now. Listing descriptions are about to change greatly, and they're no longer going to be written for glamour. They're going to be written for search. That changes, what we're doing as listing agent.
What would make a successful team today? Like if you were building a team from scratch, what would be your number one hire? Assistant, obviously, but then what would it be?
Number one hire is not assistant.
What would it be then?
Number one hire is and I'll explain to you why. I'm pivoting everything about what we do because I see it. I see it so clearly. And most people are going to wait until they get there to see it, and it's going to be too late.
Will AI replace real estate agents? Welcome back to Real Estate and Chill. I'm your host, Kevin Iglesias, with the number one real estate brokerage on Long Island, Signature Premier Properties. We got the man, the myth, the legend. I know you've seen him on all your social media platforms. One of the most influential voices in real estate today. Let's make some noise for Jared James in the building. Let's go!
Wow. God, I feel like a monotone voice won't do the job now. I signed a waiver before that. My Lord.
You said what are the poppers are for. Now you know.
Oh, that's great. That's fantastic. Well, thanks, man. I'm happy to be here. I really am.
Thank you for saying yes after following up, sending emails, harassing your assistant. And, this is why they say follow up. The money's in the follow up.
I always say you follow up till you get one of two fingers. One finger that says, let's work together, and another one that says, let's not. And so I gave you neither one of those until very recently. So, I'm looking forward to it, man. Honestly, like I think I told you, I do a lot of podcasts on my own, but I don't do a lot of outside podcasts. And it's a question people ask a lot. They're like, how come you don't do other podcasts? Like, how come? And I think our real estate podcasts are boring. That's why.
Yeah, well, I told you we're very different. We're very spontaneous.
I mean, that was,
Got the money gun, the confetti poppers.
That was something.
And it's funny that you mentioned that because, when you're interviewing a guest, you want to know as much about them as possible. And sometimes on the reel, you get, it's not as personal.
Yeah.
But on the long form content, and this is why you should do long form content,
100.
you get to know a lot about the person, a lot about the brand, who they are, a little bit more personal things about them. Like I learned that your mom was an agent and you were basically her non-paid assistant. Mm-hmm. And then you launched the coaching program in 2008?
Legally, but I was still selling. So I launched the program. It's so funny, man. Like even when you look at getting into like a coaching program, I didn't even know that was a thing.
I didn't know either.
Yeah, it's not even like and I'm even more so when you look at now, we'll get into this, but like where the industry's going and stuff, I'm pushing way more into the training side and the, that kind of stuff. But it's so funny because people think that audiences get upset when you sell from a stage. And yet what I found was that people get equally as not more upset when you have nothing to sell. And so in the beginning of my career, when I first started getting asked to come and do events and do whatever, I had no idea. I was selling, I'd be backstage talking to buyers and sellers and doing that stuff. And then when I was done, there'd be people who were coming over and they wanted to do pictures and it was all a new world to me. I didn't know about any of this. And they would be wanting to get into something. And I'm like, I don't have anything. So I went and I created this 5-disc CD set called The Successful Agent. Somewhere, someone has copies of this that will be absolute blackmail because it is terrible.
We gotta find it.
Oh, what I learned about myself back then, man, when you would jump into a studio, you would like read word for word. And when you would make videos, you'd be reading a teleprompter.
Yeah.
That was because I didn't know to do my own stuff or to do my own whatever. And so I did what people kind of taught me to do. And I was terrible at it. I was terrible at reading a teleprompter. I was terrible at trying to say the exact right thing for the CD course, whatever. And so somewhere, someone has a very average training course that launched my career. And luckily, it set a very low precedent. All I had to do was remain average for the rest of my life, and I would match that training course.
Some blackmail there that we have to find.
Terrible.
If somebody finds it, we'll pay the bid on it, and we'll
Dude,
bring
the
it
picture
back.
on the front is my head superimposed on someone else's body. Like it's
before AI and Photoshop.
It's terrible, terrible. Yeah.
But give us some context, like how you started, as far as like what made you launch this coaching program, because the market crashed in 2008, no?
Yeah, well, actually, before that, it was really happening. If you were operating in the market back then, it was really happening before that. But my best years were during that time. Sometimes people think like this stuff that you see. I think sometimes people, they'll label you motivational speaker and everything. And look, motivation's a part of what I do, but it's not what I do. It's the things that I say, the different people call them the JJ-isms, whatever. They came from then. They came from me, not just then, but also now. But like when I say, hey, there's no such thing as a good market or a bad market, there's just the market you're in and what you do with it. That doesn't come from some motivational thing. That comes from me being in that market and watching people fall off and dominating during that time. And so there's two ways to look at it. We would look at the headlines, and every other day you'd see, a 5% drop in the number of agents, right? Or they'd say a 5% drop in the market, and they'd just say a 10% drop in the number of agents. And I'd say, well, I guess my market just went up 5% then, because I lost more competition than the number of houses that were selling. And so at the end of the day, there's no such thing as a good market, bad market. There's a market you're in and what you do with it. And I operated in that. I really believed that, as things got more difficult, we're playing on the same chessboard. So now it comes down. That's why, by the way, when you look at now, we're pivoting big time with our company right now as far as what we're going to offer, how it's going to work. Like I mentioned the academy several times today. We're pivoting on purpose because of where I think things are going. And there's people right now, I was talking to someone the other day, and during a Q&A, they asked about, am I worried about the changes? Am I worried that so much of what we've built up, one-on-one coaching and all this kind of stuff, like am I worried if it's not as effective moving forward? And I said, look, you need to understand that like everything we've built is not based on looking for opportunity and then taking advantage of that opportunity. We are built on the jockey and the track, meaning that when I see the industry start to change, when I see what's going to work moving forward start to change, I don't get worried at all, because I stand in a place where I go, the reason I am where I am right now is because of my talent, because of my skill, because of my work ethic. So when everything changes, there's a part of me that goes, watch this. I'm going to show you how you do it again. And so I have no fear of things changing. I have no fear, because I wasn't built on the track. I was built on the jockey. And so change the track all you want, I'll still bet on myself every day of the week.
I love that. I love that. And again, it's the value that you provide. Let me ask you a question though, because obviously you're very confident now. You spoke on stage, just finished speaking for Signature Premier, how you basically from go to amateur to pro, it's consistency, it's practice. You got to do it daily.
Yeah.
Was there anybody who ever doubted you from like going into the industry? And let's talk about it. Let's hear about it.
Of course. To this day, man. Like, what do you, like, yeah. I had to
Still
block a couple people yesterday.
Like where you are today?
Yeah, man. I mean, that's just a numbers game, man. Of course, man. Like, by the way, if I had the number of people who are close to me who constantly critique social and tell me what I shouldn't be doing when they have no followers,
or it's not even
like
their
stepping
photo
in the kitchen with Bobby Flay or whatever his name is and telling him how to cook. Like, bring me some kind of like track record, right? So absolutely, man. But like, I really like, this is so crazy, but like the deeper we go into things, you'll see like I don't think of things in a normal way, right? So like, I put up a post the other day, and it's just so true. I was talking about the idea that like we've all achieved certain goals, we've done whatever, that we said when we achieved them that we will have arrived, that we will have whatever. And then those same people go and they set new ones, and it's a new thing, and it's a new thing. I'm at a place in my life right now where I'm completely fulfilled, I'm completely happy, not because of my achievements, but because of who I have around me. And when you say that, I said that recently, and a guy goes, well, then how do you stay driven? Like, what's that mean? You just made it now? You know? I said, look, man, you've got drive all wrong. You think that drive is trying to achieve the next thing. And the problem with that is there's always a next thing. There's always a next thing. My drive comes from my talent, my gifts I was given that I can't take any credit for, and what I believe that I'm supposed to use those for. My drive comes from the impact I'm supposed to have on people around me, not on the next set of accomplishments that I'm going to achieve or not achieve. It's when you get to that place, you're able to be fully fulfilled while also staying fully driven. And that was something I learned very recently. It's not like that's what I came up doing. That's what I whatever. That was something I learned. I said at our advance, I ended our advance, and I talked about how someone asked me once, what's my greatest fear? And I said, my greatest fear is leaving this earth to a standing ovation to all of you, and then getting before God and having him say, what the hell? And what that speaks to is everyone's individual capacity, everyone's individual potential. That's what I'm focused on. I am not focused on anyone else. I'm not focused on naysayers. I'm not focused on people I think are ahead or behind me. I'm running my own race.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. And I really feel that way, man. Like, I don't look at competitors and go, I need them to fail or I need them to whatever. I don't even focus on other people. Like if you were in my circle, you would understand how real what I'm saying is right now.
Yeah, no, look, you speak a lot about you versus you, and I'm in the same mindset. When I got into business in 2016, I was never on social media. I built my business the old school way, door knocking, cold calling, face-to-face, belly-to-belly with consumers. And from 2016 to 2021, I was never on social media. I was just, getting acknowledgement, recognitions, awards, et cetera, et cetera. All that stuff is good, but it was never my main focus. My main focus was I had to survive. I had family. I had a kid when I was 17 years old.
Desperation is an amazing motivator.
Exactly. Yeah. And just having that pressure on your back as a man that, hey, look, I have to succeed and I have somebody looking up to me and I have to make it.
Yeah.
That was for me one of the biggest things for me. And I think we have a similar background as you were raised by a single mom, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Not growing up with much, right? I think not having anything puts that battery in your back, that hunger, that drive, that ambition. Because I'm overly ambitious. Like anything that I do, I have to accomplish this, and it's gonna get done by any means.
Dude, I remember I don't talk about this often, but I remember one of the pivotal moments in my life. Right. So when I was a kid, we lived in 6 different states. My mom's like a gypsy. Super poor. We lived in trailers at times. I remember when we made it to a mobile home, and I thought we had made it. Sometimes I use an example I didn't use today, but it was I visited my old home a couple years ago in Washington State because I lived all over the country, and I remember thinking I had a huge yard, and then I went back there a couple years ago when I got I was at an event that was nearby, and I remember showing up and realizing I didn't even realize I had street cred. Like this is the ghetto. Like, I thought this was so nice, and but I vividly remember, man. Then we moved across the country, and I vividly remember coming home one day and my mother crying in the corner because we moved across the country, and it was an $8 an hour job that she did not get because they told her she was overqualified. And she was crying in the corner because she was saying, overqualified, I'm not going to be able to pay our rent. Like, we're going to get kicked out. And I remember vividly thinking to myself, number one, obviously having empathy for her and empathy for the whole thing. But I remember vividly thinking to myself, I will never let that happen. I will never let my kids feel that. I will never let and that's not a shot at her. Like we all different generations, you want them to go further and further and further, right? And so that was a learnable, teachable thing for me that I've always held in my back pocket. Like it doesn't matter what I do, I have the innate ability to convince myself I'm poor, convince myself that failure and poverty is right around the corner. Like you have got to push today, and I have a unique ability to leverage that in my mentality, dude. I'm into watches. Do you know why I buy watches?
Why?
Every one of my watches is worth more than what I paid for them. But if everything hits the fan, I can sell them and I'm okay.
It's an investment.
It's deep in the psyche of it.
Yeah.
Is the idea that everything could fall apart.
Yeah.
Even though I know that's not going to happen. So
now they're on the story of watches. When I first got into the business, and again, I didn't start with a mentor. Like I watched, like you said, too much HGTV.
Yeah.
I got into business. I was like, oh, this is pretty easy. Show a couple of houses, get paid, nice checks, etc. They show you the nice cars, the fancy lifestyle. Anyways, I did a rental deal that went south. And as soon as I got that check, I was like, I got to buy a Rolex. Like I got to look the part. I was literally going to say, what'd you
do, the typical Rolex?
So I bought the Rolex. The deal went south. And I'm over here freaking out like, oh my gosh, I got the watch.
What kind of rental was it that it was a Rolex?
I did a few. There were like 2 or 3 rentals.
Good Lord.
But I was like, all right, I have to buy the Rolex now because I feel like I made it. Like I have to live up to, and I was 26, 27 at the time. So I feel like I had to live up to this perception because that's what they sell you. And I bought it and then I had to sell it much less than obviously what I purchased it to get rid of the watch to pay this back. And
that's hilarious.
I was like, I'll never buy a watch again until I feel successful.
You know my least favorite watch?
The Rolex.
Rolex. You know why?
Why?
Because everyone recognizes it when you wear it.
But you know what it is? It's a statement piece. It's a conversation starter.
For who? For people who are looking for that. I hate, I literally, my kids will tell you, my wife will tell you, my least favorite watch is my Rolex. It's a beautiful watch.
What watch?
And
is
it's worth a good amount of money. Like it's like great. It's the least that I wear because wherever you go, you're right. Conversations are. They look at it. They can see it. I like watches that no one recognizes.
So you were talking. I was like, wait, is that the Hulk? Like I don't know.
That's a tag. No, this is just a tag.
Right,
this is like.
But still a nice watch.
It's so light, man. Like man. I love it. It's so wearable.
But it's got the matte like gray.
This is my style of watch, man.
It was popping out. I was like, I couldn't figure out what kind of watch it was.
It's like a nice light. It's like a whatever. Like if you were to see my collection, My favorite watches, man, are like just every day you'd have no idea. And for me, watches, it's crazy, but watches to me are like they're not statement pieces. I don't feel like I need to make statements. They are literally memories.
Yes.
You know, like I have ones that mark different things, different things we did, different memories we had that I look at and I think about those things. And then I picture one day that it's going to be part of what I pass on to my kids, that they'll always remember their father gave them this. And then once again, just like me, if everything hits the fan, they're going to be okay. It's like one of those it's like a weird, whatever. But yeah, every young kid gets a Rolex. It's like,
so I bought the Rolex again, and I told my wife, I don't care like how much it appreciates. I'll never sell it because I went from.
What year was this?
So I bought the watch in like 2017.
Oh God, so it appreciated then.
Yeah. Well, no, I sold that watch. I sold it because the deal went south. But then I bought another watch, I think in 2020 or I don't know, maybe no, before COVID. Because
I was gonna say, hopefully it was before COVID.
Yes, because I still got it at a really good price, and then everything skyrocketed. I know, it's crazy.
Almost could not find them.
Supply and demand.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You almost couldn't. It's almost it's supply and demand in them for real. Do you know the greatest scam going? Diamonds, because they're so rare.
Yeah.
Yet I've yet to find a jewelry shop up and down every single street where they're out of diamonds. Like, give me a break. At least with watches, you go in and you can't find one. Like, I've yet to walk in, sorry, we're out of diamonds. It's the biggest scam. Like, it is just, anyway.
All right, so let's rewind this back. Let's rewind this back.
Yeah.
So, again, just not growing up with much gives you, like, that battery, that chip on your shoulder. Like, I've been doubted a ton of,
Sure.
And again, back to the HGTV shows, a lot of the guys looked like you, very clean cut. I was tattooed on my hands, I'm tattooed everywhere.
Yeah.
So I was just very insecure.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Yeah.
And then I had to defeat myself. So from 2016 to 2021, now I have a team of 11 agents.
Yeah.
I was a solo agent, but I was going through the motions of maybe I should quit, filling out applications, full-time job. This isn't for me.
Yeah.
And then I realized I'm holding myself back.
Yeah.
First year I did 4 deals. Then it was 10, 14, 21, 22, 25, 30,
And once you start
40.
getting up to that level, you're making a living.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's especially this area. I don't know what the price point is, but I know it's not 150.
Well, I mean, no.
Yeah.
What, your price point is 150?
No, I just mean it's not like super low. My price point, by the way, when I sold was not high. It was like 225. So most people hear Connecticut and they think we're riding around on horses, hitting balls and like, doing, and it's just like, that's Fairfield County. That's like the people who come from New York I lived in New Haven County, right over the border. And so my average price point was 225, 240. Like it was deal at a time, transaction at a time. Like it was very, we didn't have that, that kind of a thing. And I think sometimes people think that they're like, oh, well, you were in Connecticut. And it's like, yeah, but not, we weren't in Greenwich. I wish, but no, it wasn't that way. Anyway.
How important is having the right mindset and having the right marketing? Because some people can have the right mindset, but they don't have the right marketing.
Sure. That's leading the witness. How important is the right mindset, right? Everyone focuses on you got to have the right mindset to win, but there's a more important side, which is if you don't, you're going to lose. Like, the wrong mindset loses every time. So that's something important to understand. The right mindset doesn't win every time, but the wrong mindset loses every time.
I agree.
Like nobody ever thinks about that, but it's very true. You can walk around with the right mentality, the right mindset, ready to go, whatever, every single day, and you're going to win some and you're going to lose some. If you walk around with the wrong mindset every day, you will lose 100% of the time. It's really that simple. So, mentality is everything. Marketing, from what perspective, right? Marketing obviously matters, right? I said from the stage today, great marketing doesn't just attract the right people, it repels the wrong ones. Back to your thing about I've got tattoos, I've got this, am I the right this? When I got into the game, think about what people who do what I do for a living, what they looked like. They all had suits on, they all had ties up to the, whatever, they all talked a certain way and they all, whatever. And I did not fit that mold. I'm very what I am, meaning like, if you talk to me here, or if you talk to me, we're out having drinks, or if you talk to me out on a whatever, I am what I am. Like I have a certain flair about me to where, it's not quite exactly central. It's a little different. And that back then, at least we thought, didn't play. Remember, this was back in the days when NBA players didn't have tattoos.
Yeah, everything was much, much
Think
different.
about that. Everyone talks about Allen Iverson.
I was going to say Allen Iverson.
How he broke the mold.
Yeah.
Now find me an NBA player.
Without tattoos.
Okay, so now let's flip forward to this industry. I've never thought of it this way. I'm kind of like the AI. Like, you know, like I've never thought about this. Like,
wait,
it's
wrong one.
it's like, so think about that. Like, now you see everybody hitting the stage with sneakers.
Yeah.
And with the way they want to look.
So
I've got this
upon.
hoodie and I've got this whatever. Everyone's doing that now. That was not when I used to. That was not
Same
the
here.
thing.
Yeah.
When I made the decision to do that, that might as well have been career suicide. You know, but I made a decision. And I asked myself a question and I said, would you rather succeed as a fraud or fail as yourself? Which is a very interesting question to ask when you want to succeed on the level that I am driven. And so a part of you, when you ask yourself that question, goes, I'll just be a fraud for like 5 years and then we'll figure it out, you know, because you're just like, I just need to succeed.
Yeah.
But ultimately I went, you know what? If I fail as myself, it's the best thing that could have happened because it means that I was trying to succeed at something I wasn't uniquely built for, you know? And that's the part where people get so stuck on like what they dream about or what they want to be. Or, you know, there was a craze where there was a time when everybody wanted to be Oprah. Every young girl wanted to be Oprah. Now everybody wants to be a podcaster or an influencer, or now everybody wants to be a whatever. And like my whole thing is not that we don't work on ourselves, not that we don't grow, not that we don't, I'm not saying that, but at your core, who you are, you know, at your equilibrium, who you are. If it's not enough to make it in that thing that you've been dreaming about or that you really want or that you whatever, you might look at that as a failure. But the truth is it's a success because it means you didn't spend 5 years trying to be something you weren't uniquely built to do. So at least you didn't spend 5 years doing that. And now you can go after what it is that will uniquely fit you and that will uniquely make you happy and that will. And so I came to that conclusion early on and said, we're going to make it or not based on me. And if I don't, that's okay. Because now I'm going to find the next thing. But if I do, oh, what a wonderful world it would be to be able to be myself everywhere I was. You know, that's just so freeing, you know? But so yeah. Again, it's so interesting. The AI, I'd never thought of that before.
Allen Iverson of
it's like, wait a second, that's right. Everybody had tattoos, nobody had. I'm like, I'm kind of like the AI here. Like
you have tattoos or no? You don't have any tattoos?
You know what's funny, man? My wife has some tattoos. I have never done the tattoo thing. I used to be like back in the day, like, why would you do that? Like, why, you know, whatever. Now I kind of get it. My son just got a tattoo. I was fine with it. I don't want him to go crazy because everybody I know with lots of tattoos has some they regret. Yeah, and so I'm like, let's just be sure. Let's make sure it's like, you know, because I have pants I don't like 2 years ago, you know? I would potentially do something with my kids or do something. Now I don't really care. Like I used to be anti. Now I'm like, everybody's got them. Yeah, my wife's got them. Like,
I mean, like I said, I used to cover them up before, but then my wife's shirts.
Cares.
Yeah, nobody
cares.
But okay, so nobody cares if you're a pro. I feel like if you know what you're talking about and your value add, it just they can see past it. Like
I don't even know. I don't even see it past anymore, man. I feel like it's a strength now. Like it's so uniquely like we used to have people when they would come in for interviews and they would cover their tattoos. Now it's like, if you get someone who, like you said, is a pro or is well-spoken or is good at what they do or is whatever, the tattoos almost add to the personality. You know, I mean, as long as they don't have, you know, whatever, a thing across their face saying, you know, die whitey or something whatever. Like it's, you know, obviously that's not something, you know, but like overall, I just don't think most people, how do they care anymore? In my world, people don't care.
It's a little different. I would say in my market, a little bit more people care.
Are they older?
Yeah, you know, you get old money, new money. Again, there's some people that you run into that don't care.
Yeah.
It's like, what can you do? And so back to the context of having an online presence is so huge now because everybody that I meet with now already knows who I am because they already just...
So you understood what I said earlier.
Of course.
If in today's world, when you're meeting someone, your first impression of them, if it's their first impression of you, you done screwed up. By the time somebody meets you, first impression should be gone. This should not be the first time they're meeting you.
All right, so let me give you a little bit more context about me, right? So as far as 2016 to 2021, I built an amazing team. I have Anthony right here behind us. 11 agents.
I'm gonna on your team?
Yes.
What's up, man?
Team LINY. So we cover all of New York, right? But here's the thing. I never went into the industry and saying I'm going to have a team. It just all happened very organically.
Yeah.
Same thing like, I guess what like a coach does, right?
Same,
he sees people who sees people that need help.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, I can help you. I can teach you.
Yeah.
And as long as you're coachable, we'll make this work.
Yeah.
And it just happened organically. Started with 4, then it went to 11.
Yeah.
But the whole point of that is, do you believe that you need a real estate coach to succeed? And then I'll circle back.
No.
Did you ever have a real estate coach when you got?
Yeah, I didn't like them.
No?
No. So during my time, I don't want to name names of them because they're people still know.
I think I know.
Everybody was just so, this is what it is and that's it, and it never changes. It's only referrals and that's it. It's only cold calling and that's it. And there was never. See, I'm a big believer that getting romantic about how you got somewhere is the quickest way to underperform on your potential. And you would just get these stalwarts that just like were married to their message. Even when the world changed, remember I said before, marry the principle, date the model. Yeah. Principles are tried and true, they don't change, right? But the models, the strategies, they change. So I just saw a lot of what I came up with and what I was doing and what I train and teach people now is that. It comes from the idea that I'm not married to anything I said last year. Like today I talked a lot about AI and I talked about social and I talked about those things, right? If next year those aren't the things, I'm only married to being right in the moment. I'm only married to the people that I'm talking to, hearing something that I say that leads them to more success. If what I said 2 years ago is no longer valid, that doesn't discredit me. It discredits me to keep talking about crap that doesn't work anymore. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's not the mentality of many of our coaches in our industry and otherwise. They think that somehow if the message changes or the strategies they've been teaching have changed, that it discredits them as a person. I just don't buy into that.
Yeah.
I don't. It's my job to stay on top of what's happening and to almost like Moses. People they're too busy to be productive in their day-to-day, real estate lives. My job is to be paying attention and come down and go, here's the 10 commandments. This is what's happening now.
Yeah.
This is what you need to do now.
Yeah.
Like I don't see it as a failure on myself when it changes. That's just the world.
Yeah. And the reason why I asked that is because I still to this day don't have a coach, but it's always been in the back of my mind, like I should get a coach because if I'm doing the business that I'm doing now, I feel like a coach, the right coach will propel you to do a lot more business.
By the way, there's no doubt about that.
I know.
But the question was, do you have to have one?
Right.
So I say no.
Of course. But again, that's been on the back of my mind. And one thing I like about you is like you said, you're not dressed up. It's just like you're being authentically you. And that sets you apart from everybody else who's basically in the coaching field. Now, because it's a small world, like I could name on my one hand.
By the way, me and the other coaches have this conversation all the time. Who are the people?
Yeah. Well,
you could probably do it on one hand.
You could do it on one hand. Did you ever have any coaching beef with because you're different. You're like you said, the AI that came into the industry, disrupted it. Yep. And now did you have any he'll never last or anybody
Of course. Look, man.
Name drop them, please.
When I first came in, there were very big names who I would hear what they would say, and there were very big names that when I first met them doing other things, they were super nice. Once I became a threat, they were not super nice. There were very big names that people know right now that behind the scenes are nothing like what their persona is. How do I say this? Like, okay.
Politically correct?
I am okay. I'm a unique animal in this, okay? I am a very introverted person. Most people who do what I do for a living, it's like their daddy didn't love them enough. Like it's like this need for attention, this need for stage people. Not all, but many are there because they're not there for the audience. They're there for the audience for them. It's for their attention. Okay. I have almost retired several times because I don't need it. Like I like the attention of my wife and kids. I don't need anything beyond that. And so I say that to you because you have to understand that once you enter that arena, and if you enter that whole, like, let's just call it top 5 status where like you're everywhere and now you all know each other and you all, whatever, the types of personalities that get into coaching, training, advising people for a living, giving your opinion and have it matter, people looking up to you, generally have some egos on them. Okay.
Well, I feel like our industry is full of egos.
It's kind of like, man, I came from like the mega church world. One of my mentors growing up was like the head of a megachurch. I met a lot of big megachurch pastors that you know of that are not like what you see on TV. And they are egoed through the roof. Like, it is insane. And so for me, it's kind of like parents. You learn one of two ways. You learn what to do or you learn what not to do. And so one of the things that I took from those experiences was the idea of don't ever become that. You know what I mean? Like, don't ever, I'm not saying you devalue yourself. I'm not saying ego is important, by the way. Ego is part of what makes people successful. But the difference between ego, confidence, and when you move into arrogance is one exit. And if you miss the exit, you're not in the town you tried to get into.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
When you're driving down the highway, here's the exit for where you're trying to go. This exit brought you 4 miles too far. The difference between ego, confidence, and arrogance is one exit. That's how close it is. And people want a confident person. Ego is a part of it. You need to have an ego, right? To get up in front of an audience, to own an audience, to stand in an arena and give your opinion, to on a regular basis tell people things and say, this is the way to do it. And to be confident and to be whatever. You have to have an ego. What you can't let happen is the double-edged sword, right? Anakin can't become Darth Vader. You understand?
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
No,
but like,
it makes sense.
It's you got to keep it under control. And so I understand that I'm dealing with personalities that come from that like nobody gets into it because they're a meek mouse in the corner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they've got, and there's good ones and bad ones. And off camera, maybe I'll tell you who they are. But yes, I've gotten that and I've gotten plenty of it. And
doesn't that fuel you to keep going though? That's like that.
I don't care.
Watch.
I don't care. I literally don't care. Like maybe in the beginning, like I'm trying to think right now and trying to be very honest about it. Usually when somebody says they don't care, they care more than anybody.
Yeah.
Just so you know, but like in the beginning, I think it fueled me. Like I got really disrespected by one of them. And I knew, and they were acting like they didn't even know me and they didn't whatever. And I knew they were like talking about me. Like I know their business development person, whatever. And I'm like, okay, like this is what we're doing. Like, this is so dumb. Like I listened to this person when I was selling,
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like, really, that's what we're doing. And I just remember thinking, don't do that. Don't ever do that. You had mentioned, for example, you had like Ricky Carruth on here, right? And Ricky put up a post when he was first trying to get into this space where like I got on a call with him and like helped him and like walked him through what to do and how to do it and how to, whatever. And he put up a post on Instagram and he's like, I'll never forget. Thank you so much for like talking to me and doing whatever. But that came from those experiences where I learned and said, don't be that. Like, that's not cool.
Yeah.
Holding someone down doesn't keep them from growing. It keeps you from growing.
Right.
And so you're not going to, it's inevitable. It's Thanos. Like, it's not going to happen. Like if someone's going to make it, someone's going to make it. And there's plenty of room for everyone. You
can't stop God's plans.
That's it, man. So like I just didn't. So yes, there were, to this day, there's still stuff, but that's all like politics within the industry that people don't,
So let me know if you agree with me or if you don't agree with me. I think the entry point to real estate is way too low. And I think that's why we see such a huge failure rate as far as why agents fail within the first, 1 to 2 years. What is it, 85, 87%?
Sure.
I think it needs to be a lot more expensive to get your license because we're dealing with somebody's, if not their biggest asset. And like you said, as far as being a professional, you go to the doctor, you see a professional. You want to go to court, you hire an attorney. That's a professional.
I know, and I know the argument.
What are your thoughts about that?
What's funny? You're right, 87% in the first 5 years. The more impressive stat is 80% in the first year. If I were to devil's advocate this, because that's all I ever hear, I've never really given it thought. Like everybody always, the barrier to entry is too low. That's the school of thought that our whole industry takes, which may be accurate. But let me take a little different approach. What's more important, the barrier to entry or the barrier to success? Meaning, when you shake out enough sand, you get gold, right? Like at the end of the day, that's what happens. How many people in this industry would not be me or you if the barrier to entry was much higher?
It's true.
So yeah, I could make the argument that it's too low, but then I also wonder if that's just people complaining, and they're like, oh, these people, and they don't, yeah, well, look, when they fall off, that's more transactions for you. What do you care? If they have their license and they do, what do you care? Like, at the end of the day, it's a meritocracy. So as I think this through on the spot with you, if I was going to play devil's advocate, let as many people try as possible. That does not give them success. Anyone can get in. Not everyone can stay in. As long as, I guess where I would veer off, and I would probably go the other direction, is if it was everybody can get in and everyone stays in, like a government job, or like a teacher you can't fire, or like a DMV worker. No matter how they do, they're keeping their job. I have a problem with that. But in an industry where it's a meritocracy, and you either perform or you don't, you win or you don't, I know that the school of thought in our industry, and I'm going to get a lot of crap for this, is that the barrier to entry is too low and it should be this. And even somebody doing hairdressing has to, I've heard all the arguments. But then the other side of that is that what allowed me and you to be here right now? So do I make an argument against myself if I say it's too, you see what I'm saying?
No. It makes
I
complete sense.
started part-time. I started like in a place where like I didn't have a lot of, so it's just like, I can argue both sides.
Now, as far as like, let's just say you would have to do this all over again, right? Like, what would you do? Because you're big on content. I know. Like, when I signed up to be a real estate agent, nobody told me I had to be a therapist, a firefighter, a janitor, social media content guy, content creator, etc. You wear so many hats.
Part-time unemployed,
Yeah, basically. You don't get paid until the deal closes.
Yeah.
What would you do now? Like, I feel like that's $1 million question that everybody
like meaning
wants to
right
ask.
now, right now.
Like, you're fresh. All right, you're hitting the ground.
That's easy.
New market. I'm going to go from 0 to 30 under 30. Like, what's your plan to get there?
You want to know what's crazy? It's easier than ever. It's easier than ever right now. When you look at that audience when I was talking to them, and I was talking about, and I didn't even go deep dive, but like I was talking about AI and the searchability on AI and how it's recommending people, and nobody in that audience is doing what I'm saying. I'm doing an 8-week session right now in our academy, doing deep dive week after week, showing people exactly what to be doing to show up and get recommended by AI, which an AI recommended platform, you have a 440% higher closing rate than a Google recommended lead, right? I would be all in. And by the way, I have a son who's going for his license soon. We are going to go all in on doing the right things according to how AI bots search, so that I would be recommended in the area regardless of how long I've been there. And I'd be all in doing exactly what I'm doing on this side of the business with content. And it would be the easiest thing in the world because the rest of the industry does not do it. So the competition is what? So I'd be AI and social all day long right now,
Do you still believe in like the door knocking, the cold calling?
Of course. Sure. I think that there's many different ways to do something, and I think that everybody has a different personality, and one of the beautiful things about our industry is that based on your personality, you can pick the marketing tactic that fits you best. It's not a one-size-fits-all. But yeah, in addition to doing all that stuff, I'd be doing a ton of open houses and a ton of calling and a ton of, but by the way, when I say creating social content, I'd be documenting everything and putting out content about it. So all of that would add to content, I'd be doing a podcast. I'd be doing everything I'm doing in my real life business. It'd be no different. Keep in mind, man, like, yes, okay, like we have our real estate coaching and training, right? We have our speaking, and we have many other companies. It's the same thing in all of them, right? It's all content contextualized. It's the same thing. I went to a flooring company the other day and did an event. I said the same things with different words in between because the content was the same. It just had to be contextualized. What it takes to be successful as an insurance agent, what it takes to be successful as a title rep, what it takes to be, when I say visibility trumps ability, doesn't matter what your visibility trumps ability.
It's true.
What that visibility looks like is different for every, like that, but the context of what you're saying might be, but it's all the same, When I say consistency is undefeated, when I say I'd rather hear no than say no, when I say like, dude, it's all the same. It doesn't matter what you're in. And that was the point I was making earlier when I started in real estate. I didn't start in real estate to become an amazing realtor. I started in real estate to flex my entrepreneurial muscles. That was it. Real estate just allowed me to do that, just like I'm doing that now on the other side of it, I haven't changed. It's just, I'm just riding different vehicles, man. Like that's all it is.
Now you mentioned like, there's with Zillow, this super app that nobody is even aware of.
Except for 25% of their users.
So if
Nobody
you
in
could
our
break-
industry
yeah,
pays attention.
If you could break that down, because I'm sure a lot more people are unaware of what the Zillow super app is or what it does.
It's what everyone's been afraid of for years, but Zillow for a long time, it was not their intention. You know, don't lose sight of when Zillow stopped buying homes and they lost billions of dollars. You know, when they were buying homes,
iBuyer?
they had to change they're a publicly traded company, which means they had to change their strategy. And I don't have an issue with that. Like, competition eliminates you or makes you better.
Yeah.
So you can sit back and complain, or you can look at what they're offering and add it to your tool belt. Okay. What they did was they started looking at what does profit look like moving forward, and they started looking at ancillary services, post-close homeownership behavior. Where's the money at? And so while everybody else is still looking at commissions, the problem with commissions only is that you have to do the deed to get paid. It's like being a highly paid Las Vegas stripper. Like, if the dance doesn't happen, you're not getting it, okay? And so if you don't sell the house, it doesn't happen. What they started looking at was they started looking the whole downstream and saying, look at all these opportunities that we're not paying attention to. And they said, okay, well, commission is one side of it, right? But then once you get past that, people are putting a roof on their home. People are refinancing. People are using a title company. People are doing, and they started going, in a world where everybody is operating within the app store, you know, I made the comment earlier that there are apps that are better than what you're using, but you're not aware of them because they're not in the app store. They started realizing that we need to operate in the world that consumers are operating in, which is closed door environment. That is an ecosystem that makes it easy for them, where one place is doing everything. And we right now as an industry are operating so different, where we have one company that does e-signature, one company that does forms, one company that does offers, one company. Every time we use a different company, we're missing the opportunity to get our customer used to one platform that they will then hopefully continue to use post-close because they've gotten so comfortable with it, okay? And what these other companies are doing, whether you talk about Zillow Super App or you talk about Rocket Redfin with Mr. Cooper, or whether you talk about Vado or whatever you talk about, is they're zeroing in on get comfortable, stay in the ecosystem. Because then once they go post-close, they're going to take their suggestions from the ecosystem.
Yep.
Who do we use next? Especially if we can bundle it and do it cheaper. Especially if we can do it all in one place and you can see everything that's happening. You can go back and look at your contract. You can go back and look at what offers came in. You can go back and look at what your property's worth right now. You can go back and look all in one spot. And that's where the industry is missing it right now. They're not paying attention to that ecosystem. You know, I mentioned a company while I was up there, Mosaic.io, Mosaik.io. The reason I'm promoting this like crazy lately is because it's one of the first companies in our industry that has been funded with the sole purpose of empowering our community, not overtaking our community. Every company before that was funded with the idea of getting rid of agents, getting rid of the middleman, and what consumers have shown over and over again is they don't want that. They want the trusted advisor during the third most stressful time in their life, buying and selling the largest asset they're ever going to own. What they're not going to do is change how they behave as consumers in order to work with you. And so if our industry doesn't wake up to the idea that we have got to build ecosystems that allows them to operate within that while still working with us, then these other multi-billion-dollar companies are going to take them away from us. And as I said at the event earlier today, nobody can steal what you're taking care of.
It's true.
And that's the problem, is that we're not taking care of them. We're great at getting them to the close, right? I said we need to understand that we're eHarmony and not Tinder. And yet we have an industry full of people out there for one-night stands and then wondering why they're going off and marrying somebody else. And that's not how this industry works.
So let me ask you a question. If you started today, would you buy Zillow leads? Now, Zillow people, I feel like people hate them or love them.
You should see my DMs.
Well, Zillow Flex now, we'll go into that as well. But
Yeah.
do you believe it's worth it buying Zillow leads? And I can tell you for myself, you know, I buy into Zillow. I buy into lead generated apps. I feel like it's always comes down to the conversation, right? As far as conversating with the person, see what they're looking for, et cetera, what their needs are. Anything that you can have a conversation with somebody and provide value and help.
Agreed.
It will lead to something if you just do the work, the value, everything else. Would you invest into Zillow?
Would that be one
of your tools to now?
Like, listen, man, so I used to do a big thing, and I'm probably going to start doing this again, about the idea that you wouldn't build a house on land you don't own, because at any point the landlord could say, "Hey, we're done. I'm taking this land back.
It's like McDonald's.
Okay. Now let's flip it to a business perspective. You wouldn't build your business on land you don't own. And I think a lot of people think that means, well, then don't buy leads. The idea of buying or renting or owning the land you're buying on or renting land, it has nothing to do with where you get it from. It has to do with what you do with it after. Okay?
Exactly, yeah.
So somebody who goes and buys Zillow leads and that's all they do, and they have no follow-up and they have no post-close behavior, like none of that, whatever. Yeah, you're on rented land. You're constantly having to recreate. Back to the Tinder example. You are constantly. But somebody who looks at it as a strategy, as a what's your cost of acquisition? What is the difference between that cost of acquisition or the cost of doing any other kind of marketing? What's the difference? Like because of where it came from?
Well,
it's about what you do with it after you get it, okay? So if you understand the idea of lifetime value, you understand of staying in touch, you understand the idea there's no such thing as past client, right? Just active clients. And if you understand all of that, and you are now taking those people and you're putting them in a system that once they close, you are realizing the lifetime value of that person because of the way that you're following up, the way that you're contributing, the way that you're giving them value, the way that you're all of those things, then that's now land that you own. But if you're just buying them and then moving on to the next and just constantly, that's all you do, and you're not building a database from it, and you're not, now that's rented land, okay? But again, I will say it again. What is the difference between a cost per lead or cost of acquisition on anything else you do or doing it through Zillow? It's all the same thing, as long as you understand your cost, but more importantly, you understand what you're doing with them post-close. That's how it still makes sense.
Well, I think, like you said, it's the people that just hate the platform, hate what Zillow stands for. Oh, why are we giving them money? You know, they're stealing our market share, stealing our leads, or our leads are supposed to be ours. You're always going to have agents complaining about any little thing.
Business isn't emotional, man.
I know.
Business isn't emotional. And in an industry our size, you have people complaining about anything and everything, right? I have people who comment on my videos all the time and say the most outlandish things about me and the most whatever, that literally my kids and I look at it and laugh because we're like, who the heck are they talking about?
It makes the algorithm work even in your favor.
Dude, half the crowd killed Jesus. So we think people aren't going to have a problem with Zillow, you know? Now, do I think that Zillow is the long-term solution? Do I think Zillow is out to eliminate now? I do. I think it's clear now.
Without a doubt.
But right now, can you use it for what it's worth and build your database and build your 100?
So let's talk about Zillow Flex, because Zillow Flex is not available to a lot of team leaders. Like I think here only a couple of teams have it. But one of the reasons why Zillow Flex is obviously an advantage to the Zillow team leaders is because they don't pay upfront, but they pay for the transaction.
Well, now they're paying upfront too because they're
that's changed.
Well, now they're having to pay for Follow Up Boss. So you have to use Follow Up Boss in order to get Zillow Flex leads.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell you right now, Zillow's in trouble when it comes to that whole thing.
So
because
we're gonna see a big lawsuit coming.
It's coming, man. Like if I showed you my DMs, the number of Zillow Flex team leaders and otherwise that have been messaging me, recordings of phone calls, actual emails that have been sent, what their reps are saying to them behind the scenes about the idea of steering, RESPA, all of this, it is insane. Like they are clearly having, look, even their own, they sent me the booklets. They're telling you if you don't send this percentage, then we're not giving leads to you anymore. How is that allowed? And by the way, that percent they're saying when they're talking to their local reps, beyond that, the reps are saying something completely different. They're going, yeah, I know it says 10%. If you don't give me 50%, we're moving on.
Oh, shoot.
I'm not putting that on record. That's what they're saying over and over again.
Yeah, again, I'm not a Zillow Flex team, but I guess the way that you balance it off is, all right, now I charge more because I still have to pay Zillow, let's just say a percentage,
that's the whole lawsuit that's out there right now that against Zillow that was brought 3 weeks ago, where they said the fact that there's not transparency in the idea that these people are paying 40%, that it is artificially increasing the rate that people are paying for real estate services. That lawsuit is out there right now. Now, that's really easy to prove or disprove. None of the Zillow Flex team leaders that I talk to say that they change their rate based on it. They just make less money. But you could easily just look at what's the rate when they're working with them, what's the rate when they're not. But that's a lawsuit waiting to happen too. And the fact that it's not disclosed to the consumer that there is a 40% rate that's a whole other lawsuit now. Like there's a lot of lawsuits going on right now. There's a lot of trouble coming down the pike for that stuff. And again, if you saw my DMs, I've never seen such anger. Like these people are who did, by the way, build their whole business based on getting Zillow. And now because they're not giving, over half their business or because they've referred other lenders and it's not Zillow Home Loans, their rep is like, all right, we're moving on to someone else. And they want them to keep sending it off to Zillow Home Loans when many of these Zillow Home Loans are lenders. They're saying they're very young, inexperienced. They don't offer a lot of different financing. It doesn't work. They're like, the client decides. But now they're getting to a place where off the record, they're saying, oh, you got to at least send 10% to get an approval. But then their reps are telling them privately, no. If this many doesn't work with us, we're moving on. Wow. And it's happening now.
Wow.
So I'm telling you, man, there's lawsuits coming.
So when I first got started and I was uploading, because my main focus was like, all right, I have to get listings. If I have the product, the consumers will come. Zillow was very different back then.
Yeah, you got to have the cheese to catch mice. Yeah.
Yep. In the first, the listing agent, then I say with like 2-3 agents would pop up and then you'd be able to click on the person. But Zillow would also give you the opportunity of like, what else do I love about this home? And I would always put my information there, like make sure you contact me directly. And I would get a lot of leads from that.
Yeah.
Because all right, but now that's not an option anymore.
Yeah.
You basically, whatever call agent, whoever's the top percent holder in that zip code is going to get that call.
Correct.
And then obviously the system does what it does. But Zillow's completely changed its entire model.
And they're going to keep changing, by the way. And by the way, what they're doing right now that I'm hearing is that, they've been going back and forth between this Flex and then what was it called? The Premier or what was the one they stopped doing for most of them? Anyway, they're figuring it out. They might go back to it because Flex is going so terrible right now that they might go back. They're trying to figure out which way to go moving forward.
So the one thing I do like about Zillow is that like they give you like a zip code. Let's just say, where are we right now? We're in Woodbury. Like if you want to be the top agent in Woodbury, this is how much it's going to cost you. Let's just say $2,500. It's going to give you 90% of market share in that area. You're going to get 15 leads and then maybe 2 or 3 other bonus leads.
Yeah.
So you see how much market share you're going to get.
Yeah.
Then it's obviously up to you to convert.
Yeah.
But again, that's the aspect that I do like about Zillow. It's like I know how much I'm supposed to get, and then now it's focused on me that I have to convert, or the team now has to convert. And
you know what they're doing now too, because they not only do they force you to pay for Follow Up Boss no matter what your system is, they force you to follow their scripts and record every single call so that they can give you feedback on how to, how you should have been doing this and it's going to be some rep that's never sold real estate who's going to train you now on what you need to be doing and how you need to be doing it. And again, if they don't hit their numbers and it's not what they want, or they're not recording every call, or they're not picking up 25% of the calls that come through, or they're not doing any one of those things while they're having to pay for Follow Up Boss, which is one of their products, they're moving them on to somebody else. Yeah. So it's interesting times, because if you're a team or you're an individual and you use a different system, you don't want to use Follow Up Boss. You want to use your own system. You want to use, it just creates this whole
tension, and
it's very interesting, like where this is going to go. And it's because they have pressure. They're a publicly traded company, so like people want to see numbers. They want to see them increase every year. And that's very difficult to do in a market that did 4.06 million sales last year.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to find ways to be able to go back to their shareholders and go, look what we did. And that's why they went from 30% to 40%. Who knows if it's going to go beyond that. But it's interesting. Let's just put it that way. It's very interesting moving forward.
So circling back, the reason why I didn't have a coach is because I just didn't have the money to pay a coach.
Yeah.
It's so expensive. But what's really cool about your coaching program, it's what, 99?
So here's the thing. We have one-on-one coaching that definitely goes from 600 to 1500, and you have a one-on-one coach and everything else. I don't know that 5 years from now, that's the model. So you're not going to hear any other coaches say that. Okay. That's very true though. I don't believe that 5 years from now, that's the model. I think that the reason why you see us and you saw me launch the Academy is because what it does, first off, I'm a trainer at heart. And so, the most common thing you'll hear from so many of our students and otherwise is like, it's like they sign up for you, but then they're not getting you, obviously. Like I can't,
Yeah.
So you do your best, you do, whatever. But like the Academy allows me, it's $99 a month for me personally to do sessions twice a month live and answer questions and do, do what I do well, get back to that. It allows us to scale on a level that, you couldn't do in the past. But when you look at what's being launched now with all the GPTs and everything, a lot of the questions and the accountability and a lot of those things that are very valuable, you're going to have AI that's really going to mess up a lot of that. Think about it like this. It's like if you're a personal trainer and your value, part of your value comes from writing a specific routine based on someone's specific goals and setting out for them a meal plan every single week. And like I'm paying a lot of money so that you'll do that for me because you know what you're doing, right? I can jump on this and in 4 seconds put something together better that knows more than you, right? And so I think as an industry, we need to start to pay attention to this. And what you see me doing right now is going to where the puck is going. And you see me pivoting and getting ourselves ready for the next dimension because there will always be people who want a one-on-one coach. And we are going to offer it. It's there. But I think in the next 5 years now, you're going to start to see people pull back and get into much more niche training and coaching, meaning you're going to see us build the crap out of the academy and you're going to see us do more of, instead of having people sign up for 12 months at a time with a specific coach, we'll start doing quarterly coaching in small groups. You want to build a team? We don't need the next 12 months. We don't need team leader coaching for the next 12 months. We're going to do for the next 3 months, very specific, every 2 weeks in our academy for people who have signed up to be in this very specific thing. We're going to do 3 months where we show you exactly how to build a team, where we show you exactly, you want recruiting? We don't need 12-month contract or whatever. We're going to do the next 3 month, the next session, for that very specific thing, not for like the overall academy, but for people who sign up for those 3 months, we'll have a part with somebody who teaches very specifically in a small group exactly what you need, talks to you, holds you accountable, takes your numbers, does, all that stuff. I think our industry is going to go there. And I think that's good. I think that's going to be more worthwhile for everybody. I feel like everybody's going to get a lot more value out of that. And I also think that it's going to show that our industry is willing to adjust and pivot. Because when you look at our industry from a coaching perspective, all of the coaches do nothing but tell everybody about what needs to change and how consumers are changing, and you all need to pivot. And what hasn't changed? Coaching. Other than we went from teleconference to Zooms.
It's true. Look, I think when there's any industry change coming, as far as like the NAR settlement and buyer broker agreements, people always get scared. And I think the headlines either helps you adapt and stay ahead of the game, or you basically just leave the industry and quit. And the reason why a lot of agents don't use AI is because they fear that AI is basically going to take over their position and eliminate them. And like, oh, I'm not using AI. But AI is such a game changer. Yeah. The one thing is this, and as much as authenticity is always thrown around, I do believe that it's super important to be authentically you. Like you're just
100. You heard my answer when someone asked about the AI doing your videos and stuff. And I went, that's great that it can.
Yes.
I'm me.
Right. And I think it's because your personality, it's your DNA, it's who you are. But another thing is, like, I feel like AI is now being overly used when you look at agents' descriptions. It's 100. AI or like 100. Even captions, just everything. Like everything surprised? Is no, not at all. Yeah, it just makes life a little bit easier. But again, it's like there's where's like it has to be you, dude. You know what I mean,
dude? Not all change is good, not all change is bad, but all change is opportunity. And so, like everything we do in this world, we go too far with just about everything. Once something is true, we think it's true at every level, okay? There's a thing called law of diminishing returns. And so what it means is it's like the idea that, let's just say you were paying $10 a lead through Zillow. That doesn't mean that if you pay $100, you'll get 10 leads. You pay $1,000, you'll get 100 leads. At some point, there's a law of diminishing returns. It's not going to be, there's only so many leads to come out, which means the price is going to get higher and higher and higher. It's not, what's true here doesn't mean it's true here. And so what people do is they take certain truths, they think as far as they go with it, it's going to remain true. And that's not true. Not all change is good, not all change is bad, but all change is opportunity. And so what people have done is they've taken this AI thing and they now start putting it on everything and go, well, this is the way. If it can do it, then it's the way to go, right? And so you have a lot of like listing descriptions and other things that are all going to sound exactly alike and look alike and, whatever. People are going to start using it for their scripts on their videos and they're going to sound alike and look alike and, whatever, in a sea of sameness, right? And yet what's really going to change right now, you were talking about Zillow. You have Zillow now built into ChatGPT. Talk about listing description change. Listing descriptions right now are written in a way for glamour, to make the property look good, to make you look good describing it. Listing descriptions moving forward are going to be built for AI search.
Like keywords.
Because when everybody is talking to GPT and other places, and no longer is search where you're dropping down a form for how many bedrooms, baths, and you're talking to it about what you want, where you want it, all of that. Now what's going to have to happen is that it's going to search from within that description and other things. Now that search becomes SEO. That listing description becomes SEO. So now it's not just a glamour paragraph. Now you need it to be written in a way that the AI models find it amongst all the others, because it's no longer just going to be show me all 3-bedroom, 2-bath and above that's in, whatever. People are going to get very specific, and they're going to talk about walkable to here and near this thing with a yard that does this and with all of these things that may not necessarily show up in a very whole number 3-bedroom, 2-bath scenario, where now you're talking about describing what you want, which speaks to searchability, SEO. And so this is what nobody's talking about right now. Listing descriptions are about to change greatly, and they're no longer going to be written for glamour. They're going to be written for search. And that changes, what we're doing as listing agents.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Let's talk about really quick as far as Compass making that big acquisition of what, 1.2, 1.6 billion?
Yeah.
So that reminds me of like NBA players, right? You get drafted in the middle of the night and you wake up on another team. Like, can we speak a little bit about that as far as like, and I think that's a huge chess move because they're in legal battle with Zillow as well, right? So let's dive.
That was a bad day for Zillow. That was a bad day for NAR.
I woke up and I was like, wow.
That was a bad day,
Banker,
dude.
Corcoran, many other.
I basically talked to every CEO the next day.
Really?
They all called. And some of them I called. I wanted to know what are you thinking? What are you feeling? I won't tell you which ones right now. But I wanted to know what they thought. Like, do you like it? Do you dislike it? But it changes. Well, first off, it hasn't happened. If it happens, it'll probably happen second quarter of 2026. It's a major move, I immediately actually talked to Rory from Compass, and he's like, come down, let's do a podcast about it. And I was like, traveling, whatever, I'm going to do it when I get back. And we'll go do that. But it is... Like I have friends in this industry who completely disagree with them. And Compass does some things that I like and some things I don't like. The difference is I don't think I need to agree with everything. Like, innovation doesn't come from status quo. It doesn't. We don't innovate in this industry without some crap, without some trying stuff, without some...
You got to pivot.
Yeah. And so they have this whole thing. Compass has this whole thing, like with the whole pre-market thing. And I own a pre-market company, by the way, called First Up. FYRSTUP. Like, you're going to see companies like that and others that get acquired because what happens is that as many in our industry disagree with Compass's stance on pre-market marketing listings, their 3-point stance, like that, all of that stuff. If that sale goes through and they become the largest real estate company in the world by double, and they have almost 30% of all listings, it doesn't matter what your opinion is. You as competing companies have got to give that tool in the tool belt of your agents. And by the way, that's not even including, that's of realtors. Take real estate agents who aren't realtors. They're nowhere near that number. So it's very difficult to push the idea of monopoly. But at the same time, they have a lawsuit against Zillow right now where they're saying monopoly, that Zillow's a monopoly. Zillow's not 70% either. So Compass is in a very weird position right now where they're having to defend the fact that they are not a monopoly based on the percentage, but they have a lawsuit against another company saying they are a monopoly based on the same argument. So they're arguing against themselves. So this is going to be really interesting how this plays out moving forward, but it's weird times in the industry. Fun times.
Yes. Things always change.
I've become an attorney the last 3 years with all this stuff that's gone on. It's just unreal.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that. The people who made the most amount of money were the attorneys.
But we were taking advantage of people.
Yeah.
So thank God they jumped in for the consumer.
Yeah.
Collected their 30 to 40%, and then commissions to consumers went up. Thank God. It's just the biggest joke on planet Earth. But you'll never hear about it because every senator is an attorney. So they'll never go after their own.
So a couple more questions before you wrap this up. As far as like teams, right? Mm-hmm. like what makes a successful team, right? Because there's a lot of teams, you know, and for me, it was always about, again, I didn't go into it to be a team leader. You know, I saw people that needed help.
What's your team structure? Are you like a little brokerage under a brokerage, or do you have specialization?
So, all right. So basically, as far as like,
does everybody on your team represent buyers and sellers?
Yes.
Okay, so you're like a brokerage under a brokerage.
Pretty much.
Gotcha.
But for me, like I said, it wasn't about like quantity. Like I didn't say I want 50 agents under me.
Yeah,
like
it was a mistake to do that.
For me, it was always quality. Like I'm going to pour into you and then make the right investment, because time is money. Like, time is money. And for me, it's like if I'm spending my time with you, I need to make sure that
when I was selling, our team doubled when I got rid of half the agents.
Really? How many members?
100%.
How many team members did you?
I think when we doubled and cut down, we were 9 team members.
Wow.
Which back then that was like considered. We were like 18 to 20 people. Which back then, you gotta remember when I came up, we kind of created teams.
I was gonna say, were teams big back then?
No.
Yeah.
Like the stuff I teach now came from that, man. Like learning and screwing up, and teams wasn't a thing.
Yeah. When I got started, teams weren't.
So that's where the business mind came in, and I realized even now when people call it teams. And a lot of times people don't like that word. It's just organizational structure. You know what I mean? And everybody's got a different idea of what organizational structure they want. So a lot of coaches will tell you, this is the team structure. This is it. It's like, no, everybody's got a different goal. Everybody's got a different, what they want.
Yep.
Yeah, like whatever. So anyway, I agree with you, man. It's quantity. I mean quality, not quantity.
It's quantity. It's not. It's yeah. And for me, again, it was just like I saw people that needed help, and again, you have to provide value for the agents, and that's how you basically keep them as far as retention wise. But like, what would make a successful team today? Like, if you were building a team from scratch, what would be your number one hire? Assistant, obviously, but then what would it be?
Number one hire is not assistant.
What would it be then?
Number one hire is a TC, and I'll explain to you why. TC, transaction coordinator. And the reason why is a couple things. Number one, it costs you nothing. You only pay if you close. Okay, so if they close you, mainly, it's not even just for them, it's for you, because most people who are team leaders, they're control freaks.
Yes,
and they need to learn how to delegate. They need to learn what happens when somebody does something that's not 100% the way they do it, but it still got done. And so part of that is just getting used to that and doing something that automatically serves the client, gives them that McDonald's fries experience, where it's the same thing happening every single time, right?
Yeah.
We have a transaction coordination company called Cleared and Closed. And it's one of the first things they do is that they sit down and they come up with what is that workflow, the custom workflow for you in your area. Are you a title state, a attorney state, whatever it is. And it's the idea that regardless of whether I'm busy or slow, those 50 to 60 points in that workflow are happening regardless. So every person's getting the exact same experience. So the first hire is a TC because it's not even a hire, it's a contractor. You only pay if you actually close, so there's no risk. You're only, spending money when you're making money, which is awesome. And it's getting you used to learning to delegate. Then an admin comes in, okay? And an admin's role changes. It's kind of like a startup company. In the beginning, they do a lot more. If you ever work with a startup company or a tech startup, in the beginning, people do a lot more than just their role. It's whatever's needed. And then as you grow, they learn to specialize more and more. So in the beginning, that admin is doing a lot more. In the beginning, that admin is actually doing marketing for you as well. And the reason why, by the way, a lot of times people will say, well, can't your admin just do your TC? Terrible idea. While they're the same personality profile, the problem is that if you get really good at your job and you start doing a lot of business, that admin, when it comes down to them doing marketing, which is their main role when they first come on, and doing transaction coordination, is that when things get really busy and they need to get things through to close, guess which one they're going to drop? Marketing. They will go take care of the customers, take care of the transactions. Problem with that is now you've given up on marketing and you've officially jumped on the roller coaster, which means close everything, get back to marketing, get busy, get over here, get back. It's just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And so what you want is somebody who's specializing doing transactions no matter what. Every customer gets the same experience, every, whatever. And then the admin is that second hire when it comes to doing marketing, helping you, doing all of that stuff, without a doubt. To me, those are your first 2 hires.
Second question, as far as what's your opinion on the real estate shows? Because some people hate them, some people love them. I'll give you an example. I'm very close with Sirhan and Own in Manhattan, all those guys. I know a lot of them. They've been on the show. Great guys.
Yep.
Do a volume of business.
Yeah.
What are you a fan of any like the real estate shows? Like,
Sure, they're fun. I don't know that all of them give an accurate depiction, of our industry, and I don't know that they've been helpful for the industry.
So that's my thing is like, because people see the watches, the lifestyle. They think, and
Here's the difference. Here's the difference. If I watch a show on watches, that popular show on watches adds more consumers. When you have a show on hot rod car, on any of these other things, when you have a show on restaurants, when you have a show on cooking, when you have a show on whatever, they grow the consumer base. Meaning, when you have a show on watches and they're super cool and people want to learn all about watches, more people buy watches. They add to the consumer side. When you have shows on real estate, more people don't buy real estate. More people get into selling real estate.
More people get their license. Right.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Why I got into.
So the difference in our industry is that when there's a show about our industry, it adds to the fluff. It adds to the less professional people who join our industry. Just about every other industry, when you have a show on that industry and it's popular, it adds on the consumer end. So I wish that our shows added to people buying and people, which by the way, house flipping does.
Yeah, because you want to make money. You want to learn the process.
So those house flipping shows added to people buying investment properties, added to. The majority of what we call the popular real estate shows now, doing this, some of that, here's big boobs, here's this one over here, whatever the thing is, they don't add to consumers. They add to people getting in, competing in this industry without fully understanding what the industry is. So that's my only, it's not like even like I have an issue. Like, it's like, whatever, like you guys can do whatever you want.
Right.
But if I had a critique, I don't think that's the part people understand. It doesn't add to people buying more product. It adds to more people trying to sell the same product.
Yeah. Speaking about watches, you got to follow Moses the Jeweler. Do you follow him?
I know who you're talking about.
Moses the Jeweler. You like watch content?
Is he the one who's always flipping them over? Is he the one who's always like...
so that's Volcom. That's Fast Flips. I watch a lot of his content.
I always see the
TikTok.
stuff on my Instagram. I just don't know their names.
Oh, you got to follow those. I'm stuck on watch content, just looking at all the watches, prices, how they get it, service. It is
crazy.
I'm in a rabbit hole of content. But circling back to that is, so with the NAR settlement, the reason why I feel like a lot of sellers were like, oh, I'm not paying commission anymore. You guys make too much money now.
Sure.
It's because all those real estate shows just show all that glamour and the lifestyle.
They never worked. It was just drama and whatever. And sometimes that drama
it's
happened.
entertainment.
Some of that drama happened in a real estate office. Some of that gossip happened in a real estate office, but there was never any work, And again, it's entertainment. That's fine. You understand it for what it is. I'm just saying that it did not necessarily add to the quality of the people who come into the industry. And, but again, back to my original point, man, shake them out and some are gold. There are people who have come in because of that, that have done very well now and good for them. And then all those people who came in who were just utter crap, they don't stick around. So I guess it's fine in the end as well, right? Like goes back to that original question. But yeah, man, the show's, it's very interesting.
Last two questions, all right? What can an agent do that's making like 50,000 right now that wants to 10x that and start making 500,000? Like, what are those steps? Obviously, get the right coach, get the right coaching program. But as far as general, like, what does somebody have to do to go from that mindset of, hey, I'm making 50,000, I want to make 500,000? Like, because the number one agent in the country at 26 years old?
Yeah. So first off,
I know that's a loaded question, but
so listen to what I said before, right? It's hire a TC immediately because there's no risk. Okay, so you need to get used to what scaling looks like. You need to get used to most people who don't grow. It's not because they don't want to grow. It's not because they don't have the leads to grow. It's because they don't have the capacity to grow. It's such a corny example, but like a snake grows to the size of its cage. Like you've heard that example, right? Like if you take a baby snake and you put it in a cage this size, it grows how big? Yeah. Right there. If you take a baby snake and you put it in a cage this size, guess how big it grows? If you take a baby, that's a microcosm for us. Most people's issue is capacity, okay? And so the biggest mistake I see people make when they're at that level and they want to grow is that they don't understand that our industry is boats over fishing, okay? And what I mean by that is everybody gets in and it's all fishing, lead creation. If you want to catch a fish, throw a line in the water. You want to catch a lot of fish, you throw a lot of lines in the water. And everyone gets in and goes lead creation, lead creation, lead creation, which is fishing, fishing, fishing. Problem with that is that you don't go shark fishing in a canoe, okay? You have to have the capacity in order to bring on the level of business that you want. But the time to do it is not when you're in the middle of it. It will never happen. That's how you build a prison around yourself. You need to build the snake cage now. How big do you want it? You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so I would tell that person who's at 50,000, I know they're looking for, okay, what lead thing would you do? Whatever. Build the boat. Get that TC, set up your CRM so you know what follow-up. Get a company like Mosaic, get whatever, like set up capacity to do the level of work that you want. And now you will be in a place where you can spread your arms and actually, flex your muscles in the way that you want to flex them, right? From there, man, like honestly, when you look at what I said I would do, I said I would focus on AI and I said I would focus on content creation. Dude, pay attention to what I said earlier when I said you could bet on the winning horse every time. If I'm that person, I'm doing 50,000, I am cutting in the short term until I can make financial decisions from the place that I should make them from a position of strength. I'm cutting every expense and I'm living bare bottom, in the beginning, right? And I'm putting every dollar back into my business. Pay attention to what I said earlier. We now live in a world where you don't have to guess on marketing. You should never be running an ad that hasn't first been tested organically. And so I'd be, on top of creating content on a regular basis, I'd be checking every piece of content once a week and I'd find out who's the winning horse. Which one created the most leads, which one created the most follows, which one created the most views, which one created the most shares, and which ones hit the highest percentage of non-followers. That's what I would look at. And every single week, whichever winning horse that was, I would figure out based on my lifestyle, based on what I gave up, what amount of money I can put on that video for the next week. And now I would promote that video after doing it organically and let that horse go win. And let it create more leads for me, and let it create more opportunities for me, and let it create more follows for me, let it create more visibility for me, let it create more. I'd be doing that every single week, betting on the winning horse every single week.
Perfect. Now, last question. Will AI replace real estate agents? So before you answer, we are working, obviously, there's systems out there that you can have AI basically calling for you, where it's not the agent.
You saw the Portugal agent, right?
Yeah.
Did you see that?
No, I don't think I the Portugal agent, no.
AI agent. Portugal,
really?
In 8 months, did over
yes.
over 100 million. All it did was make calls and follow up. So what do we learn from that? Guys, consistency is undefeated. Make calls, follow up. Make calls, follow up. So literally an AI bot did nothing but call people.
Sheesh.
By the way, average price point was like under 300,000.
Damn, that's impressive.
Over 100 million in 8 months. And it just goes to show you, consistency is undefeated. If you guys would just do what you're supposed to do, whether you feel like it or you don't, you do just fine. Anyway.
But do you you see that coming to the US in a year, 2 years, 3 years? Obviously in time, do you see agents being replaced? Because I feel like it's more of like an emotional.
Those are two different questions. Those are two completely different questions. Do I see agents in that capacity? Do I see what most agents prop up as their value right now being replaced? Yes. I think that most of what agents offer right now will be commoditized. Okay? And so it's so interesting that you are talking about these places that are more emotional, that require personality, that require trust when they're going through a difficult time, that are trying. Those are the areas that agents right now need to lean into and say, where do I go all in on those? Because if you find yourself in a world competing with AI in what it does well in the future, you are going to lose 100 out of 100 times.
Yeah, it's a machine.
It's like literally, you're going to lose 100 out of 100 times. Why do you think I said to you a little bit ago, I'm pivoting everything about what we do? Because I see it. I see it so clearly, okay? And most people are going to wait until they get there to see it, and it's going to be too late. When the truth is, we're already there. You just open your eyes, it's there. Like
yeah.
it's clear what's happening right now, okay? Yeah. What we have to look at, I said during the event today, I said technology isn't there to replace you. Technology is there to free you up, for what you should have been doing all along, okay? And so in an industry where we've been told forever that we're going away just like travel agents, we're going away. And what we found was we're not travel agents. You can't just order a flight on Google Flights, find the best one and do. We're an emotional industry. We are the third most stressful time in life: death, divorce, and moving. Right? We are the largest asset somebody ever buys or sells. Okay, and so personal connection, trust, and all of those things that have always been paramount, they're even more paramount. They are more magnified in an AI world if you stop trying to compete on things that you're not going to compete on. Okay, we're heading into a world right now. Why do you think I work so hard and I build so hard on brand? Why do you think I spent so much time today talking to them about how you get selected? How do you plant your flag right now and you be the one that they're, how do you, look, in 2 years, when somebody goes on and says, hey, what's the nearest place I can get a soda? Well, they are reliant on the AI deciding which soda matters. But because people are so particular about Coke and Pepsi, the majority of people are going to say, where do I get a Coke?
Branding.
So what I am betting my farm on is that I don't need randos going, what's the best real estate training? I need somebody going on there and saying, can you pull up that last video from Jared James? We need to be Coke. We like this is the part of branding that people don't understand. If you're relying on the AI models, which is what's going to tell everybody where to go and who to use, if you're relying on what I'm teaching today, as far as how to show up, 3 years from now, that doesn't matter. It matters today. 3 years from now, if they're not asking for you, that's a problem. Now you're relying on the AI to decide who the best option is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes complete sense. So look, AI is here to stay. You have to have a strong brand. I always say, your brand has to be so big that everybody knows who you are. It's not who you know, it's who knows you.
They need to ask for you. Look, man, if I'm in a town with my son, or I'm in a town and I say, hey, what's the best wings around? It's going to answer what's the best wings around. If I'm with my younger son, he's going to say, where's the nearest Buffalo Wild Wings? Because he loves Buffalo Wild Wings. Yeah. You understand? So the change in that search is the difference between who makes it moving forward and who doesn't. If you are not, brand exceeds everything. Brand is everything. Okay?
It's the reason why people want to work with you.
That's it, man. And so I'm so focused in on that right now. Every time I don't want to make a video, every time I don't want to do something, every time I don't want to whatever, I go, someone wants to know where to get a Coke.
I like that.
You know what I mean? No one's going, where's the nearest cola? What's a good place to get a soda? They go, does that restaurant have Coke? Because you take a Coke person and you go to a restaurant and they only sell Pepsi, they're like, oh, damn it, come on. Right? They're like, come on, it's not the same thing. You take a Heinz person and they're only, it's not the same thing, right? So we have to understand that in the real estate world or any world you're in, how important that branding is, that I need someone not asking for real estate training. I need someone asking for Jared James videos. Yeah. I need somebody not asking for a real estate agent. I need somebody asking for Kevin. That's the difference. And those who understand that right now are the ones that 2 to 3 years from now are going to keep winning. And those who don't, luck of the draw. Yeah. Just hoping.
I agree.
You're hoping.
I agree.
Okay. And it's a different world we're heading into. Look at the hands that went up today. People don't even understand AI yet. And I said, how many of you search using AI where you used to use Google? And almost every hand goes up. And then the further we go into AI in front of that audience, you realize none of them understand AI at all. And yet at the lowest level, they're using it. So it's just pay attention to what you do as a consumer.
Yeah, no,
and then reverse engineer it. How do I get on the other end of that consumption?
Yeah.
It's really that simple.
I always tell people you have to create the content, not just be a consumer, And I talk to Chad all the time. Look, there's 5 people that I talk to. God, my wife, my mom, my dad, and Chad. Those are the top 5 for me. They know everything about me. Chad makes me feel better when...
You need some friends, man.
Look, you gave us so much knowledge, so much value. I really do appreciate you being on the show.
Yeah, man.
I followed up with you for months. I know. And look, follow up works. If you want to make the deal happen, you have to follow up.
No joke. So you did, and you made my assistant feel bad.
Really?
So she asked
That's
again.
Awesome.
You can cut this later if you want, or you can
keep
it.
Leave it in.
But I said no again. And I'm like, I'm not sticking around doing a podcast. When I'm done, I'm done. I want to leave. I want to get home. I want to, whatever. And she's like, Jared, I know, and we can stick to that, but he's followed up a lot, and he seems like a really great guy, and he does like.
Did she ChatGPT me?
Yeah. I'm not even kidding. And I was like, all right, let's do it, man. Let's do it. So yeah, good, man. I'm glad we did. My right eardrum may not work after this.
You didn't even pop one of yours.
I mean, I don't.
You got to exit the show. Look, we had.
I don't even know how. Which way's it got to point?
So look, you got to twist it where the arrows tell you to twist it.
But which way is it point? That way?
Yeah, point it at that guy right there.
To be clear, so everybody can see, he said twist where the arrows is. Okay, so I have a schizophrenic. One is pointing this way, and one is pointing that way.
You just twist it like this, all right?
Are you ready?
We had the Allen Iverson of the real estate industry on Real Estate and Chill. Thank you. We're honored. Where can people sign up for your coaching? JaredJamesToday.com.
JaredJamesToday.com, guys. I'm telling you right now, get in the academy. $99 a month. Like literally, we stopped doing the annual advance and everything. I am pouring all in to our academy.
So much value.
Learn from me twice. Not only learn from me twice a month with trainings, all recorded. Watch it whenever you want. We also have all sorts of courses on there. I've got 4 more courses that I'm shooting right now that we will sell for thousands of dollars. But $99 a month academy members, free.
That's cheaper than sneakers. Sneakers. Food.
Look, great marketing, right? So I learned this a long time ago. The key is to make it dumb not to sign up.
But that's how it felt.
That's what you do. You make an offer. You make an offer so good that it's dumb to not. That's what we're doing with the academy. Like I can't explain it to all of you. And for all of you listening right now, it's $99 a month right now. It's not going to stay there. Like when it goes up, there's going to be those that are grandfathered.
I'm signing up.
Yeah. I mean, it's $99. Like, I mean, it's
you can't beat that. And all the value that you get.
If I said one thing throughout the year that made you a fifth of a transaction, you made money.
Basically.
Now, if I say one thing that makes you a fifth of a transaction, I've screwed up. I'm supposed to add way more value than that, okay? So anyway, we had somebody post after the last session I did on AI and our thing. She sent in a thing to us and she goes, I feel like I'm taking advantage of you. She literally said, I feel like I just learned more in the last hour than I have in 10 years.
That's a huge compliment.
That's the goal, man. It's just make it simple,
JaredJamesToday.com, $99. Make sure you guys, tune in with Jared and make it happen as soon as possible. The Allen Iverson of our industry on Real Estate and Chill.
Are you ready?
Subscribe, hit the like button, the notification bell. Share this episode. Let's go!
Oh, woo! Look at that. That's great.
Thank you so much, brother. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.